Hello and welcome to the video. Now, as a genealogist, I think it's important to know social history as well as family history. Hello, I'm John Beaumont, and in this video I'll explore 10 of the most strange, extreme and downright dangerous common Victorian medicines and cures that almost certainly impacted your family during this time. Now, in terms of medicine, this was a transition period from the ancient beliefs to the new emerging scientific understanding. Now, before I get to the video, it'd mean a lot to me if you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps a small genealogy channel like mine. So, what medicines did the Victorians use before modern healthcare? And some were very extreme. But before we get to the actual medicines, this was a period of quacks and snake oil salesmen. In addition to doubtful cures, they were exposed to unqualified people, giving them street corner advice, or people in the same tenement giving them strange advice. Now, regulations for doctors were very lax, if they existed at all, and people ignored them anyway. But beyond that, qualified medical care was often financially out of reach of most working people. So they turned to these cheap quacks who often peddled patent medicines, some of which we'll now discuss. Now, we've heard of mercury, and it's been banned for a long time. You can't even get mercury thermometers. By the time, mercury was widely used in the Victorian era to treat various ailments, including syphilis and tuberculosis, and even as a laxative. Now, despite its severe toxicity, it was a common ingredient in many medications. As we know, long-term use leads to mercury poisoning, which results in symptoms like memory loss, madness, tremors, and severe psychological disturbances. Another poison, arsenic, which we've always heard as a poison in the day, this was used commonly in both medicine and cosmetics during the Victorian era. Arsenic pills were marketed as a cure for various ailments, and arsenic-based creams and powders were used to achieve a very pale complexion. Now, as we know, long-term use of arsenic often leads to chronic poisoning, causing severe health issues and even death. Our relatives were obviously drug addicts at the time. Now, another thing was laudanum. It was a mixture of opium and alcohol, believe it or not. The best of both worlds, maybe. Now, this was used as a cure-all for every ailment imaginable. It was given to adults and children for conditions such as headaches, menstrual cramps, diarrhea, if it didn't give you that already, and minor aches and pains. Now, because it was so widely available and considered a standard household remedy, people often consumed laudanum regularly without any understanding of addictive potential or its poisonous. Now, talking about opium products, people just injected opium into their children virtually. Opium-based products like Godfrey's cordial and Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup, sounds very nice, were commonly used to quiet crying babies and to treat teething, pain, colic and other childhood ailments. Now, these syrups contained a significant amount of opium, believe it or not, and were often given without any medical supervision. Used as a sedative to quiet infants and children, so frequently used by mothers in working agricultural groups or industry, so they could use more hours at work and obviously get paid more money. This would increase the family income, so they're basically knocking their children unconscious. And in the same way, nurses and baby minders also used it to enable them to basically neglect their duties if they wished. Now, tragically, and if we look at some old newspapers, you can see the use of these products often resulted in fatal overdoses, that these small bodies of infants and young children were particularly vulnerable to the effects of opioids. Now, let's try something different, something that George III used, I believe, which is bloodletting, and in this case, bloodletting often done with the use of leeches. Now, this was a common practice believed to balance the body's humours, and it was thought to cure and alleviate conditions ranging from fever to mental illness, hence the use by George III. Now, leeches were so popular, by the 1830s, Britain alone imported about 7 million leeches annually for medical purposes. Now, Going back to the drug theme, heroin, which is obviously a horrendous product, was introduced in 1898 by Bayer as a supposedly non-addictive alternative to morphine, and was marketed as a treatment for respiratory conditions like bronchitis, tuberculosis, and even the common cough. It was prescribed liberally to both adults and again to children, often in high doses. The irony here was heroin was quickly discovered to be even more addictive than morphine, and it led to severe dependence and widespread misuse. Can you imagine that if this was around today? Now, staying with modern drugs almost, cocaine for toothache. Cocaine was introduced for various medicinal purposes, such as toothache drops and tonics. It was marketed as a treatment for pain, fatigue, and depression, but its addictive properties, a bit like heroin, led to severe physical and psychological dependence. Now, many people know this. It found its way into Coca-Cola. In 1886, Coca-Cola was marketed as a medicinal tonic and contained cocoa leaf extract, which naturally contains cocaine, along with caffeine from the cola nuts. So, after all these poisons, let's try radioactivity. Now, radium was added to health tonics and elixirs, which were marketed as cures for a wide range of ailments, including arthritis, fatigue, and even impotence. One famous product was Radioactive, a radium-based water sold as a health tonic. And one of the most notorious cases associated with Radioactive was that of Eben Byers, a wealthy industrialist. He drank large quantities of it daily and eventually died of radiation poisoning from it, suffering from severe damage to his bones and other tissues. And radium's known for attacking people's bones, or actually quantifying in people's bones. So let's go on to another well-known poison these Victorians had, strychnine. Strychnine was used as a stimulant to treat conditions such as fatigue, depression, and even paralysis. It was believed it's a poison to invigorate the body and improve muscle tone in small doses. It was also included in tonics and elixirs to boost energy and vitality, maybe like Gatorade today. During the 1904 Olympic marathon runner, American runner Thomas Hicks was given strychnine mixed with brandy, why not, by his trainers to help him endure the race. Now, he won that marathon, but surprisingly or unsurprisingly collapsed after crossing the finish line and required immediate medical attention due to effects of the drug. Who's surprised? In fact, there's lots of records of that happening. Now, many of the cures I've discussed were marketed as patent medicines, often known in the US as snake oil. Now, these medicines were widely popular in the Victorian age and sold as cure-alls for various ailments despite being full of poisons and largely unregulated. Now, these over-the-counter remedies often contained a lot of the ingredients we talked about: alcohol, opium, and mercury, and it were in pretty boxes and looked really nice, but it led to misuse and addiction. Now, their grand claims and catchy names appeal to the public, but often they did usually more harm than good. It sure seemed that 150 years ago, we should know this, if illness did not kill you, then medicines might. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and thought about what your relatives were going through at this time, whether UK, US, or anywhere in Europe. Now, I'd again appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and you'll see a new video out anytime soon.